Cool. So now that we have our application renamed, ready to go, I want to show you a site called GitHub. Now, github.com is a site where you can upload your code that you have saved on Git so that other developers on your team or over the internet can work on your code with you. You can do it privately. So a lot of teams that work together on the same code base will use GitHub so that they can download the code to their computer, make changes, and upload the code, and then other people can see the changes that were made. It's a really useful system for when you're working with multiple people on the team, and it handles all sorts of things like merging differences between people on the team and making it easy to approve changes. When you hear about the term open source software development, this is kind of what it's talking about. You go to a site like GitHub, which is the most popular site for this, and in fact you can even search GitHub for something like Rails. And if you search for Rails, you'll actually find, if you click on the first result, that all of the code for Ruby on Rails is available online. I could literally go into here and click and open up the files and look at the code itself and use it as a way to explore other code. And most files will have a README that'll tell you a little bit of information about the code. We won't go into this right now because it can be a little bit scary and intimidating to look at other people's code if you've never interacted with it before. But what I do want you to do is go to github.com, and I want you to click sign up to sign up for an account here. And go ahead and do this. In the meanwhile, I'll sign into my account that I have. And then when you've finished, you can unpause the video and continue with me. Okay, so you hopefully have created a GitHub account from the get-go. And yours probably won't have as much info in here. It'll actually be blank when you first start out. What you can do is, I actually have a personal user and the 1 month account. I'm going to switch to 1 month. Is you can go on the right-hand side, and I want you to click New Repository, which basically means a new place for your code. And when you click New Repository, I want you to put in as the repository name OM Rails. And here we'll call it, this is the 1 month Rails sample project. And you'll probably have it be selected as public. In fact, we should do it as public for now. That way you can share it with each other. We're not going to put anything too secretive in here. You can always do a private repository if it's something that you don't want to be available publicly in the future. Although you may need to have a premium account to have a lot of private repositories. But don't worry about the rest of the settings. Just click Create Repository. And now it gives you a few options for setup. And what you want to pick is actually the third option here, which is or push an existing repository from the command line. Because what we have is an existing project. That's basically what a repository is. It's a folder. And we're going to push it from the command line. So I can click this little copy to keyboard and open up my terminal. And again, this will only work from inside of the OM Rails folder. So if you're not in there, if you were back at the beginning, you have to do cd desktop and cd OM Rails, or you can do them both together actually with cd desktop / OM Rails. And now paste in the code. So actually the first bit of code will have been pasted in and run automatically for you. And then you can hit enter with the second bit. And it's going to ask you for your username and password. Now the username you can type in. It should be your email address. And the password, you won't see any text actually show up there. So you won't see any asterisks or anything like that, but just trust that it's taking your input. And then when you hit enter, it'll tell you if you got it right or wrong. In my case, I didn't run into any errors. And it actually gave me a bunch of text about how compressing the files and counting them and sending them up and et cetera, if I go back here and I hit refresh, then I'll see that actually all of my code is now available here. I see my app folder, bin, etc., all the way down to gitignore gem file, and then the README file, which is in the root of our application, which I'll actually walk you through how to change so that we can make the change and see it publicly available on there. Now, note that this is not going to be synced directly automatically with what you have on your computer. You always have to add your changes and save them in Git, and then you're going to have to push them up to GitHub. So in the next video, I want to walk you through what that process might look like so that it's a bit clearer to understand.